again, it's Hannah with Truly Nolen with another one of our Truly crafts. Today we're going to be working on this Pom Pom Bumblebee with just a few different supplies that you can get at your local craft store or online. You can go ahead and put together this nice fluffy little guy for yourself. So let's get into it. All right, so the supplies that you're going to need to make your Pom Pom Bumblebee are two different types of yarn. My preference, and I learned this through trial and error, was to go ahead and go with the acrylic yarn. The cotton has a tendency to fray kind of funny, so you're going to want some yarn in black and yellow. Then you're going to want to have a piece of white cardstock. You can cut that down. I did 3.5 inches off of, so it's 8.5 by 3.5, so that you can do the wings. Then you're gonna need some tacky glue, a pipe cleaner, and a pencil. The reason why I have two different types of scissors is sharp scissors are going to be your best friend in this particular craft. So cutting through the yarn can be a little bit tough if you've got dull scissors, so make sure you've got a nice sharp pair for that. And then these are my fabric ones that I use at home. And then in order to make the pom-pom, what I did is found a template online to go ahead and make these out of foam board that you purchase just like you would for a school project, anything along those lines, and cut those out. Or if you want to get fancy, you can go ahead and purchase a Pom Pom Maker set. Not too expensive, but does definitely make the process a little bit easier. I will go ahead and show you both ways just so that you've got the idea down either way. So we can go ahead and get started, and we're going to go ahead and start off by using one of our foam board ones. Now, as you can see here, I've already kind of started on this so that you don't have to watch me wrap a ton of yarn. What I did with my foam board is split it up along here so that I have 4 separate sections, so I know where to stop with each of my colors. So when I started with the black yarn for the back end of your bumblebee, and then we'll move forward. So we did black here, yellow, and black again, and then of course at the very end we'll do yellow. Now when you're doing this, I'll show you this last bit here with our last piece of yellow. Go ahead and pinch down at the bottom, and then you'll want to twirl back up so that you catch that and keep it in place. Now you want to do a rather light amount of tension if you're doing this on the foam board, just so that it doesn't collapse forward. It can squish, and then you're going to end up with a lopsided pom-pom, and we don't want that to happen for you guys. So you can go ahead, keep wrapping this down. I did thickness on this, so this way where it's nice and puffy, to about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch. You can go fluffier if you want to. It all really just depends on how much yarn you have available. Then once you feel like you've gotten to a fluffy enough point, go ahead and take that pair of scissors and you'll cut right up here at the top, and then you can tuck that end inside the rest so that it stays, so you're good to go. Now if you want to do this with the Pom Pom Maker instead, it's pretty simplistic. The directions are on there. What you would do is take your yarn, and this is set up so that it has 2 separate halves. So what you'll do is go ahead and pull the 1/2 out, and there's even little lines on here. So I found that incredibly useful in regards to figuring out how far to go with each of my colors. So same idea on this, except that you're gonna go around this half moon here, and just keep wrapping. And the same idea, once you figure out that it's fluffy enough, then you can go ahead and trim at that top and tuck it in and start with your next color. Now when you're doing this, I have one finished over here so I can show you. When you've done this, you've got your two different sides. So you want to make sure that the colors line up with one another. So we've got the two yellow here, black, yellow, and black again, and that's going to give you your stripe effect for your bumblebee. So once you've got this going, I'll go ahead and show you on this guy here. You want to take your super sharp scissors and there is a channel right in the middle here where you can just slice as you go up, and then on the other side you're going to do the exact same thing and slice up through that channel. And now you've got everything all nice and in your tassel-y pom-pom situation. Now what I like to do is take either a waste bin or a bucket, what have you, that you've got available, and while it's still in this, you can trim down your funky edges so that everything is nice and even. That really is the key to having a really nice full looking pom-pom, is getting everything all nice and trimmed down. Now, of course, if you're like me, I have a tendency to go full on scissor happy, so we're gonna stop with that loveliness for now. And take a piece of our black yarn that we've got over here. And you want this one to be pretty long, because once you go ahead and tie this off, those ends are going to be what you use to attach the head of your bumblebee. So let's go ahead, and I'd say just a little over a foot just to be safe. Then you want to feed that through, you'll see this little channel right here where you cut earlier. That's exactly where you're going to take this and tie it through. Now you want to attach the head of your bumblebee to this yellow front, so this is where you want to tie that. So we'll go ahead and you just give it a little bit of a pull, and it'll tie all the way down in there, and I give it another knot like that, and then each of these pulls up like so. Do the same thing on the other side. And then you take each side of these and twist, whoops, and there's your pom-pom, it'll pop right out. So once you've got this guy here, kind of give him a good shake, and that's gonna give you your stripes. Now, of course, at this point, if you've still got some loose ends and stuff like that, you can go ahead and trim up along the edges to give him a nice full look and round it off. And again, I have a tendency to get kind of scissor happy, so I'm going to go ahead and put those down. Now sometimes you're going to run into the spot where it doesn't quite stripe, so you can pull that yellow in and kind of part it and pull the black in to really accentuate those stripes for your bumblebee. So then we have the head of our bumblebee that we can make. Now we can either do that with the foam board that we had done before, and with this one we don't have to do it where it's got the little markings on it, because obviously we're just in one color. So with this, in order to create your pom-pom once you've wrapped all of that around, go ahead and take a piece of your yarn, and you're going to thread that down through this end like that, and then bring it up on the other, and then very gently, because we don't want to break the yarn, and then put your finger down to go ahead and hold your place, tie your knot again, and then same idea as with the Pom Pom Maker. You take your sharp scissors and run it along this channel that you've created and trim along just like that. And you'll do the same thing on the other side as well. There we go. So then you can go ahead and pull this out, and by your little leads that you've got there, go ahead and start to fluff it out, and you have got your other pom-pom. Now with this, I trimmed this down quite significantly when I did these for the head of the bumblebee, just so that it was a little bit smaller. It looked a little disproportionate. So definitely okay to get scissor happy with this one, to go ahead and take it down to that level, just so that it has a nice round shape. All right, and then you're gonna wanna go ahead, I keep the long line on there just so that it's a little bit easier to go ahead and hold and trim. But once you've got it to the shape that you want, go ahead and trim that off on your head of your bumblebee. And then we will go ahead and take our base that we created before. Let's split our two long lead pieces there. And then we will go ahead and you essentially just tie this to the base. And double knot, and then we'll go ahead and trim off the excess there. You can leave it at the same length as your pom-pom. And then you've got the body and head of your little bumblebee there. So, on to the next bit. You can pick which side you like best of your bumblebee, which stripes look good, etc. to go ahead and figure out where you're gonna go ahead and put the pipe cleaner for that. So with your pipe cleaner, you can go ahead and we're literally just going to round this through, do it at about half, and then pinch and give it a twist there, so that those stay on. All right. Then we're gonna take our other set of scissors and snip these down so they're a little more proportional to our bumblebee. And then to get rid of that kind of sharp edge on it, we're gonna go ahead and curl under just like that for his antenna. There we go. All right, now on to our last step is going to be our wings. So we've got our piece of white cardstock. So we're gonna go ahead and fold that in half, like that, and take our pencil and trace out our wings that we wanna have on this guy. And we'll go ahead and cut these out. Remember, you want to cut both sides so that you have a set of wings. And we don't want to cut down on the one line. We just want to keep this as one solid, almost heart, or odd-shaped heart. Alrighty, then I'm going to go ahead and erase my lines off of this one, so that those are all out of the way. And then that last bit that we're gonna do with your bumblebee, you wanna go ahead and part, basically right behind each antenna, down to the base, right about there, and it'll stay, which is great. And then take a bit of your tacky glue and run that along the edge of your wing, just like this. A little extra, that's okay, that's why we used clear. And then you're gonna go ahead and take that and place that down into that little spot that you created. Go ahead and hold it there for just a second or so. The yarn does a pretty good job of keeping it there until it is completely dry, and we're gonna do the exact same thing over here, kind of right behind that antenna, split it down, run some tacky glue along that edge. And same thought, go ahead and place that down inside the yarn. And there you have it, a sweet little bumblebee for you to have at home with some interesting new craft supplies that we haven't really used yet. We thank you guys so much for checking out Truly Crafts, and we hope that you check out some others that we've got on trulynolen.com under our free printable activities tab. Thanks again. Bye-bye.